Will one of you finally give me what I desire? Yes, we will.
What's going on, you guys? This is RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, bringing you another Marvel Spider-Man video, and I felt like I had to talk about this because so many people are misconstruing what we got, stemming from an interview from Naji Jeter, who we all know as Malice Morales from the Insomniac Marvel Spider-Man games. And I just want to clarify a few things so you guys don't get your hopes up on future games that we could be seeing. But before we do that, I want to ask you guys to do me the biggest favor and like this video. Yeah, I know it's a bit annoying getting this request at the very beginning of a video before you watch it in its entirety, but YouTube's algorithm encourages it. So if you rock with your boy, and you know I'm gonna bring you that awesome content, then smash that like button. But if by any chance you just so happen to be new to this channel and you feel like I wasted 10 minutes of your time that you can't get back, then feel free to retract that like and give it a dislike. Just rate the video. But yeah, guys, I was debating if I even wanted to make a video on this because, to be quite honest with you, you guys don't necessarily watch my Marvel Spider-Man related content nowadays, which, to be honest, it could stem from a multitude of things. I am an OG when it comes to talking about Marvel Spider-Man games, and you guys probably want to see fresher faces on this platform talk about it, just so you can get your energy and hype up. Not to mention that even though Marvel Spider-Man 2 received a lot of positive buzz, it wasn't as well received as the previous title. Some fans just didn't like the creative direction that Insomniac went in regards to the gameplay, and how they completely abandoned the weapons wheel, which is one of the most effective tools to use in Marvel Spider-Man. Not to mention that the story just wasn't as engaging as we would have liked it to be. The pacing wasn't all that great, and they could have handled the symbiote storyline a lot better, which is something I had been dreading since we got that big reveal in Marvel Spider-Man 1 that Harry Osborn was gonna be Venom. Like, I'm not saying that a significant portion of the fan base thought that Eddie Brock should be Venom like I did, but I can't help but feel like Harry's portrayal of the character lacked the necessary build up to be the definitive version of Venom for this particular universe. And once we saw him transform into Venom, it was sorta late in the game, making it feel like the arc was rushed, giving him limited screen time despite him being the main villain of the title. The whole character motivation of world domination never really just hit with me, like him turning all the people in the world into symbiotes. I wanted him to have a personal vendetta against Peter Parker and have this psychological horror approach rather than the large-scale alien invasion approach. But yeah, I say all of that to segue into this because I always said that there was still hope to get a course correction in the character of Venom, especially after seeing that huge Insomniac Games leak that suggested that we were going to be receiving a solo Venom game, and was said to have a similar scope to that of Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, and was going to be released in 2025, which would have been 2 years after Marvel Spider-Man 2. But after 2 years of waiting, we never got that game, and it seemed like that focus had shifted over to Insomniac's upcoming Marvel's Wolverine game. And although it wasn't outright stated by PlayStation or Insomniac Games, many assumed that Marvel's Venom was in fact cancelled. And in an interview featuring Miles Morales' voice actor Naji Jeter, many fans assumed that he was confirming this after he claimed that a Venom project was cancelled after Tony Todd, who portrayed the character in Marvel Spider-Man 2, died of stomach cancer back in 2024.
We were gonna have a Venom game. We were gonna have a Venom game and a Venom DLC, but we lost Tony Todd. See, they showed me how it was gonna start. They showed me how everything was gonna be. It was gonna be a Venom video game. Yes, they were gonna make a Venom video game, but then we lost my uncle Tony Todd. We lost my uncle.
He also mentioned the DLC, which would have most likely featured Cletus Cassidy as Carnage. And like clockwork, this created a big discussion online, with some people believing it and a lot of people not believing it. And I'm kind of on the side that doesn't believe this, because I know that all the talents that are associated with these projects, they can only say so much, because since they are actively involved with the developers, they cannot disclose any information on these projects that have yet to be announced, even if fans are aware of these said projects through leaks. Not to mention, when they do say something, they usually do it in order to throw us off the scent of what's really going on behind the scenes. I just find it hard to believe that Insomniac Games would lay out all the groundwork of Venom just to cancel his game. Like, you gotta keep in mind that we already had gameplay from Marvel Spider-Man 2, which for the most part was limited, but you can tell that it was supposed to be built that way because it wasn't his game, and it was only only just gonna give us a taste of all that awesome chaos that we can do with the character to get us ready to fight him later on in the game. I also feel like it's important to remind you guys of the online multiplayer Marvel Spider-Man game that was cancelled, because if you remember in the footage, they featured Venom, who was going to be a playable character, and I'm pretty sure he was going to boast a wider array of moves in that than he did in Marvel Spider-Man 2, along with traversal mechanics, which were more than likely outsourced from the Marvel's Venom game. You just know that they were cooking up something great with this character, and something tells me that some of that priority shifted towards Marvel's Wolverine, like I mentioned earlier, because if you guys remember, when we got the reveal for Marvel Spider-Man 2 in 2021, we also got the reveal for Marvel's Wolverine within the same year, but the extensive marketing campaign only proceeded with one of those titles, that being Marvel Spider-Man 2. We wouldn't get any follow-up trailers for Marvel's Wolverine until 4 years later, and for the longest time I wondered why this was the case. Like, I know that they had to prioritize Marvel Spider-Man 2 because that was the bigger title. We were anticipating that one since it's the sequel to the first game, but that game was released all the way back in 2023, and it would take Insomniac Games 2 years to actually give us the Wolverine trailer we wanted to see. But after doing some extensive digging, I discovered that the creative leadership had changed with Marvel's Wolverine, and I'm not sure if this is true, but apparently the game went into a complete overhaul, which explains why the official version looks significantly different than the leaked alpha builds we got all those years ago. Like, even though Insomniac Games has 2 different divisions, I would like to believe that sometimes one has to be outsourced to the other to aid in speeding up the process for a video game's development, and I think that's the case for Wolverine. And I strongly believe that once that game releases and things starts to slow down afterwards, we'll actually get an announcement to Marvel's Venom. But anyways, another reason why I don't believe this game is cancelled comes from a very reputable source, that being Jason Schreier, a very popular video game journalist who has a strong track record of accurately reporting PlayStation news. Not only does the guy give us a proper forecast on what's to come with games such as Marvel Spider-Man 2 and Marvel's Wolverine, but he's very quick to debunk any misleading rumors that are floating around the internet, which he swiftly did in a thread on the Reset Era page where he said this isn't true after the claim was posted. And it was as simple as that. This guy actually knows what he's talking about, and his track record speaks for itself, and I honestly believe him, because like I said, it doesn't make any sense for them to cancel a Venom game that obviously has some groundwork already laid out. You also have to question why they would cancel a game just because the voice actor associated with the leading character suddenly passed away. Like, much respect to Tony Todd, the guy is a legend and he passed away too soon, and I really believe that he could have brought a lot to Venom, which he even expressed on X when he mentioned that the game left out about 75% of his actual dialogue. But I don't believe that the show should stop because he suddenly passed away from his illness, and I honestly believe that he doesn't think that it should stop, because although we may pass away, these characters are going to live on forever, and they're going to continue to be voiced and portrayed by actors for future generations. Given the fact that we're close to the end of this console's generation's life cycle and segueing into a new generation of consoles, I would not be surprised if this game shares a similar fate to that of Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, where it's featured on PlayStation 5 and it's also going to be featured on the PlayStation 6, except it's going to have more features since that's going to be the more powerful hardware than its predecessor. And I would not be surprised if it features the canceled DLC that was going to be utilized for the Carnage DLC for Marvel Spider-Man 2, since it is associated with Venom. It started with him using the symbiote and it got to Cletus Cassidy, so I expect that to be utilized as well. If Insomniac Games does that, it would actually help them avoid the same mistake that they made with Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, because as I mentioned earlier, this game was reported to be in a similar length and structure to that game, but as you guys remember, one of the biggest criticisms Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales had going against it was the fact that it did not feel like a full-length game. It felt like a glorified expansion or DLC. So yeah, if they actually repurpose that DLC that they were going to use for Carnage for Marvel's Venom, it can actually make it feel a lot fuller. But anyways, we're less than a few months away from this year's Summer Games Fest, so we could possibly get an early announcement teaser for Venom, or Insomniac and PlayStation would just do it at another State of Play event. But with all that said, guys, that's all I got for you today. I just wanted to debunk any of those rumors about this game being canceled and kind of give you some explanations on why it's not necessarily the case. Like I said, man, voice actors, they don't necessarily have a lot of say in what's going to happen behind the scenes because they're under strict NDAs. So yeah, keep keep that in mind. But what are your thoughts on this? Are you excited that we are going to be getting a Marvel's Venom game, and when do you think it'll be announced? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, I ask that you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up. You can give me a thumbs down if you want. But if you really enjoyed this video, it would help me out tremendously if you shared it with all your friends and followers on all the different social media outlets. Sharing really makes a difference. But once again, this is your boy RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.